The average 20 handicap thinks their 5-iron flies 187 yards, but it actually only carries 152. That is a 35-yard gap. The reason that you keep missing greens is not because of your swing, it's because the number in your head and the number in the air are two completely different things. I'm not only going to show you why, but I'm going to show you how to fix it by killing the 3 biggest excuses that most amateurs make when they see this data. 3 things that you believe about your stock yardages are wrong. We'll start with the one that unlocks everything else. Before we get into that, if you want to know where your numbers stack up against those in your handicap group, I've got a free PDF down below that'll walk you through if you're a 20 handicap, 10 handicap, scratch golfer, or PGA Tour player. It takes 90 seconds to read and you can see exactly where you're losing or gaining shots versus your ideal golfer handicap. The most common pushback to that 152 number is that averages lie. They include your chunks and your duffs and your shanks. And if you take those out, then your average is going to get much closer to your best shot. Here's the problem with that. 152 isn't an average in the way that you're thinking. It's a median. Take 5 iron shots. 3 of them go 185 and 2 of them go 102 yards. You add those up and you divide by 5 and you get 152. That's actually the mean. And if that was the number that we were referencing, your feedback would be right. And if we were to follow this logic, then yeah, you'd never hit a green because you'd either be carrying it 30 yards past or 50 yards short. But because it's a median, the chunks and the pure shots don't drag the average in one way or another. It just takes the middle number. And this isn't some small database. This is ShotScope, who has hundreds of thousands, if not millions of shots that they're basing this data on. So this 152-yard average carry with a 5-iron is actually what most 20 handicappers are truly carrying that 5-iron. So we're talking 20 handicaps. They must be able to practice their way out of this, right? And that's kind of what the next excuse sounds like. Well, if I just practice my way out of this, then my gap between how far I think I hit my clubs and how far I actually hit my clubs is going to get a lot smaller. I'm going to have a way better understanding of how far I hit my distances. I'm going to have a way better understanding of how far I hit my clubs. That's not exactly true, because even scratch golfers showed an 11-yard gap with their 7-iron, where they were attempting a 170-yard shot on average, but only carrying it 159 yards on average. So their gap is smaller, their dispersion got tighter, but the problem still exists for lower handicap golfers. If your practice isn't accurately reflecting how far the ball's actually going, then the practice may shrink the gap, but it's not going to eliminate it. So you can probably gather that I'm going to tell you to start clubbing up 1 or 2 clubs depending on what handicap group that you're in. And your feedback to that may be, well, aren't I going to start flying every single green, and isn't long way worse? A few notes on that. Across all handicap groups from every single distance, amateur golfers miss short 36% of the time and long 20% of the time. So we're already missing short more often than not. Secondly, the majority of hazards, 72% or more, are short of the green. So being long statistically will put you in a better spot more often than not. And based on all this information that we've talked through already, it's going to be much harder for you to hit it long than you think it is. Because it's clear that amateurs aren't choosing to be short, they're chronically short because they don't understand their tendencies. And even when you do get to the point where you understand your tendencies, which I truly think you can do, you're still going to mishit a few. It's going to be very rare that you accidentally flush one over the green. When it comes down to deciding what club to pull, your goal should actually be bunker avoidance more than anything else based on this data. So if there's a bunker short, maybe club up. If there's a bunker long, stick with the club you're going to go with. But as a default, I would start clubbing up a little bit on every single shot. And once you start flying greens, we can kind of Goldilocks our way back to the middle. I've spent this week replying to comments on Instagram and TikTok, and it's been a blast. And these were the 3 biggest complaints that I heard. So I thought I'd take some time and talk through them. And out of all those comments, one of them actually diagnosed everything perfectly. He said that you should just plan around the yardages that you hit most often. If you're still skeptical, just try this out on the course for me. Hit one of your stock shots with your normal club that you would normally pull from a certain distance, and then just grab one more. So if you think you hit your 8-iron 160 yards, pull your 8-iron from 160 yards and hit it, and then grab a 7-iron and hit it, and see where they end up. The more that you can understand about your game, the better you are going to play. Ultimately, I'm not actually going to be able to help you play better golf. Only you can do that, and I'm just going to try to give you the tools so that you can get better with the time and resources you have. So plan around what you do most often, not what you did once, because that gap is permanent, but if you know it exists, you can close it much faster than somebody who doesn't. And once you're calibrated, you can watch this video to plan out your next practice session.